Hey guys, my name is Simio, and today I'm excited to say that Ubisoft has announced that they're going to be changing and updating a lot of the old maps in Rainbow Six Siege to make them more competitive. The one big one that they announced at the Rainbow Six Siege Invitational is that they're going to be completely reworking Hereford Base. We of course have the before picture, which we're all accustomed to, and then the after picture, which looks like a completely different map. Now you will notice that there is still that staircase on the side, it still has the general look of Hereford Base, but one of the things that they realized over this last couple of years is that it wasn't the most balanced of maps, especially for a couple of the game modes, mainly Bomb. That's one thing that they emphasize with their panel, is that they're going to be trying to balance from here on out every single map and all of these updates to focus around that game mode specifically. One big flaw with the map that they stated is that there's only one staircase currently, which made it very difficult for you to effectively roam around the map. As soon as you did so, and the enemy took the objective, if you needed to retake the sites, it was very challenging to do so because there was only one way you could be coming from. So one thing that we now know about is that they're going to be adding in another staircase. We of course don't know where it's going to be placed because we only have this outside view, but that is one major improvement that they're going to be making to this map. They also stated that they want to ensure that the other objectives, other than just downstairs, are more appealing. When this map was in the ranked rotation a while ago, everyone selected downstairs because it felt like that was the only viable option. Ubisoft wants to change that. That's actually a theme that they mentioned in this invitational panel, is that not only for these map reworks, where they're completely reworking the map from the ground up, but also for these map buffs, which we'll get to here in a second. They want to slightly adjust or make big changes to the map so that these objectives become more interesting. It's not just one or two options for the defensive team. You've got 3 or 4 options now that will give us more variety. Another big announcement that Ubisoft made is that they're also going to be introducing something called map buffs. Now, these aren't going to be complete reworks like the Hereford Base example, but they're going to be much more surgical, where they go in and make small adjustments to the map where they need improving. The first one that they're going to be taking a look at is Clubhouse. The 3 examples that they give are pretty incredible in my opinion. So the first one that is most substantial is that they're going to be adding basically a room that connects the bedroom to cash room. One big issue with defending upstairs is that there just isn't enough spots for defenders to roam around or really just hide in to defend those locations. There's not a lot of options there. And so by making this extension between the 2 top floors, not only does this solve the problem where it's very difficult to defend the bedroom as soon as they open up the reinforced wall, becomes nearly impossible to hide in the bedroom itself, but also it just gives you more flanking routes between those 2 sites. As a roamer now, you're gonna have a lot more flexibility moving around the map. You don't have to go all the way downstairs to get to cash room to try to peek from that window to get a flank off. You quickly just go through that extension. It also means that if they realize that you're there, you don't have to go all the way back downstairs to get back towards the objective. You just quickly go back through that extension. It's also just gonna give defenders more options and more places to hide around said objective. Another big adjustment that Ubisoft is making is that they're going to be changing up the billiards room. Here is the before, which we're all accustomed to, and here is the after. Now, we don't know where the sites are going to be located. It's difficult to tell how the map or how the objectives are going to play into this, but I imagine what Ubisoft is trying to accomplish with this change is that as a defender, when you are in the bar, it can be really difficult to stop them from pushing the billiard hallway and to take the objective onside the pool itself. Because there is that ledge there, as soon as they get in there and you don't have an echo to stop the plants, you've got to leave yourself very exposed to flank around in that corner and try to take them out when they are by that window. It can be very, very difficult. And so while once again, we don't know where the objectives are exactly located, I'm assuming that's kind of what they're trying to accomplish with those changes. And then finally, it also looks like Ubisoft is going to be adding in another staircase to get into the basement blue hallway. As an attacker, it can be really challenging to go from garage downstairs and down that blue hallway. If any defender is anywhere near that, they don't necessarily have a free kill, but because there's nothing to hide behind, it's a very long hallway, it can be really, really difficult. And so by adding in this other staircase from what looks like the janitor's closet that's in between the garage and the stockroom, that should become a lot more accessible. It's kind of difficult to tell if they've completely removed the garage hallway route. I'd be very surprised if that was the case. I think essentially what Ubisoft is trying to do here is that now you'll have the long blue hallway and then this little staircase to attack the objective from those locations. All in all, though, I'm really excited about all of these changes. One thing that I was kind of surprised by is that Ubisoft wants to make these map buffs practically every single season. Now, like I said, they aren't going to be gigantic changes like they're doing to Hereford Base, but they are going to be making these improvements. And I gotta say that this has been something that I've been hoping for a very long time now, and the fact that they are going to be making this conscious effort every single season to improve a lot of the old maps makes me incredibly happy. Now, one change that I'm a little skeptical of, though, is that Ubisoft just announced that they're going to be buffing Blitz once again. So Blitz, for the longest time, has been one of the weakest operators in Rainbow Six Siege, but ever since the improvements to pistols across the board, including for Blitz, and also the fact that he can now sprint with his shield up, has made him terrifying in the right hands. Apparently, according to their stats, though, he's still at the bottom of the barrel pick-wise, and so they're going to be making the improvement where he's now going to be a 2 armor, 2 speed operator. This is a dramatic change. So while yes, he is now going to take more damage if he gets shot at, but it's not going to matter because he's now going to be even faster than he was before, which has always been one of his biggest weaknesses. On top of the fact that he can now sprint and the recoil reduction for all of the pistols, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And well, of course, only time will tell. We don't want to jump to conclusions and say that he's going to be overpowered. But I have a suspicion that it is definitely going to make him terrifying to fight against, especially on certain maps. Another thing that caught me by surprise is that they're also going to be giving CanCan an impact nade. He's no longer going to have access to barbed wire. Ubisoft's reasoning for doing this is that CanCan already has a lot to do in the preparation phase. He needs to put out 5 of his traps and also 2 barbed wire. That was a little bit too much. And so by giving him impact nades, it's going to give him more maneuverability, more flexibility to place those traps. And honestly, I can agree with their assessments. One thing I am really happy about, though, is that from here on out, if you buy an operator, all of their attachments are going to be unlocked from the very beginning. No longer are you going to have to go through the mind-numbing process every single DLC to unlock all of these attachments. Especially if you're brand new to the game, this is going to be amazing. Not only because you don't have to buy or spend renown on the attachments. Granted, it wasn't that heavy. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, but that is going to save you renown for upcoming operators. But also, it's just going to make life a lot easier. And while of course you're still going to need to apply said attachments to all of your operators, at least you can do that in-game, which is a lot more manageable. One thing I know at least a few people will be thrilled by is that they're introducing Yacht back into the casual rotation, but removing Bartlett University. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of Yacht back in the day, but it far surpasses anything that Bartlett University had to offer. I think Bartlett University is one of the worst maps ever created in any video game. I know some people might think that's pushing it to the extreme, but I despise that map. And so to bring back, I wouldn't say necessarily a fan favorite, but a map that a lot of people have been itching for, I think is going to make a lot of people happy. There's still no word on Favela yet, and there's also really no word on if they're going to be reintroducing maps into the ranked rotation. A while back, when they first implemented the difference between the casual playlist and the ranked one, they stated that they would be rotating new maps into ranked to kind of give us more variety. That hasn't happened yet. And so I'm crossing my fingers that this is the first indication, because they are finally bringing in Yacht, that is going to happen eventually. I'm not saying I want Favela or anything like that in ranked, but to have a bit more variety, I think would be a breath of fresh air. The final thing that I think is worth mentioning in this patch notes is that they're also going to be making some improvements to the desyncing that happens when someone is in the down but not out stage. You may have noticed that every once in a while, when you're trying to finish someone off, it looks like you put a shot into them, but they don't get taken out. You proceed to try to take another shot into them, and it still doesn't take them out. There was this odd desync apparently between you and the server, and it seems like that's been solved. It wasn't necessarily game-breaking because, of course, the person is in the down but not out stage. It's not like you need to take them out immediately, but if you wanted to drop them to ensure that they couldn't give their teammates any more callouts, or even better yet, if they were about to scoot around a corner, to have this desyncing occur could be really frustrating, and so hopefully this issue will no longer be a problem in the future. All in all, though, I'm really happy with everything that they've announced so far from the Invitationals. Of course, I am still a bit skeptical about the Blitz buff, but the map rework, the map buffs has been something that I've wanted forever, and the attachment improvements has been a massive step in the right direction. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed today. Are you excited about the map rework? Are you disappointed that Hereford is going to be seeing a lot of changes? Let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.